Hey everyone, thanks for coming to our channel today. I'm here with Joel Fox, the Chief Operating Officer of Ownright Law Real Estate, and we're here to talk about how they are changing the real estate law industry because their method of doing real estate law is actually very different from your traditional real estate lawyer. And that's why we're here today. Joel, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Alex. I appreciate you having me on today.
Hey, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. For everybody out there, actually, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Joel, one of the co-founders of Ownright, as well as the Chief Operating Officer there. At Ownright, we're a real estate law platform that supports residential real estate closings, both purchases and sales, as well as refinances.
Yeah. And Joel, if I'm not mistaken, we met, before the pandemic, I'm going to say probably 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, back at RealtorQuest.
At RealtorQuest, yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I remember that. And we kept in touch. We've done some transactions. And a lot of the transaction we've done, I've gotten some great feedback from my clients, sellers and buyers. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here today.
It's music to our ears that they had a great experience. So yeah, happy to chat today.
Awesome. So let's ask a few questions and share that information with the audience out there. And by the way, this is also for a lot of real estate agents as well, because I find that this platform really keeps you in the loop of your transaction and the closing. So let's get right into it. I wrote down a few questions. For the people who haven't heard about Ownright yet, what is it, and why do you feel the industry needed Ownright?
Yeah, we are a real estate law platform that supports property closings, full stop. The way that we do it is slightly different than the way the traditional players do it in the industry. So we have built technology that keeps everyone in the loop. So whether you're the agent that's referred us or the client that we're supporting, we're all seeing the same things so that we understand what stage the closing is at, what support is needed from each party involved, and the client understands what's needed from them. So I think from an industry perspective, it was certainly needed because transparency has always been an issue. And it's not just transparency with the client, but transparency with the different partners involved. And that's really what we focus on solving.
Joel, I love that because I think the key word that you used there was transparency. Yeah. And that's what I feel like I have when we're using you to represent either the seller or the buyer. And one thing I love is as a real estate agent, when the client has chosen Ownright as their representative, I have a portal that I can log in, and on that portal it shows me every step along the way of what's going on, the activity, and what's needed. And I really appreciate that because it keeps me in the loop. I don't have to chase the client to find out what happened or contact you. I'm just being kept informed, and I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was an early insight that we had when talking to agents like yourself that they would find out that a deal had closed from their client.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to come in and we felt that that was a simple thing to solve. And we just took it a step further by keeping you informed about the other key moments in the transaction so that you know what's happening.
Beautiful. Thank you for this, by the way. I have another question here. So when buyers and sellers compare Ownright to a traditional real estate law firm, what's the biggest difference between choosing Ownright and your traditional real estate lawyer?
Yeah, so I think one of the most notable differences that people would anchor to is the fact that we are a purely virtual solution. So we don't do any in-person signing meetings or anything like that. However, since COVID, the industry has really gone that direction. Mm-hmm. So a lot of law firms offer virtual closings or virtual signings. We were ahead of the time, and it's gone well. But I think where we differ beyond that is the platform that we've created to help facilitate the transparency that we desire to give both you as the agent and your clients. And so that platform helps us to more efficiently collect information from clients, more efficiently share information with you as the referring partner. And that really has been, I'd say, the core difference between us and a more traditional real estate lawyer. And then beyond that, what we've done, since a few of us come from outside of the industry, we've brought best practices from elsewhere. So we do the simple things like we pick up the phone when people call. We answer emails in a timely manner. We allow for text communication. So we try to meet people where they want to communicate with us in whatever channel is most convenient for them.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even know you guys did text communication.
We do text.
Oh, that's cool. Right? That's different. Like, I don't know any other lawyer that's going to text their client back.
Totally.
Or text me. Well, we haven't done texting, but never mind. I'm just on the portal anyways.
There you go. Exactly. We give you the automatic updates, and those suffice, but sometimes other questions come up, and we're there to answer them.
Okay. Yeah, that's terrific. So let me ask you this. What does the Ownright process look like from a client's perspective? Like step by step, how does it look for them?
Totally. So there's two paths that clients come to us. One is they discover us on their own. So something like a simple Google search, they'll go through our webpage and submit a form to bring us to their attention. The other path is when they're referred by an agent like yourself, one of our partner agents. So I'll speak more to the latter, but it is a similar path after that. So if you were to refer a client our way, we'd immediately get in touch with them, share a little bit more about our process, and give them a quote. And given that transparency is a really key part of how we operate and how we want our clients to feel about that experience, we start with transparency right from the beginning. So we give a detailed quote that talks about our fee, what the expected disbursements are, and if it's a purchase, what title insurance is going to cost, what the expected land transfer tax is going to be. Our goal is that if anything, that quote is more than what the client actually pays at the end. Mm-hmm. We don't want any bad surprises for the client, and so our quoting process takes that into account from the beginning. Worth noting, things happen, things change, costs do arise. But again, in the name of transparency, we're keeping the client informed as that progresses so that they know what to expect on closing day from a cost perspective. If the quote looks good to them and they want to move forward with us, we'll send out an email invitation for them, actually both through email and text, for them to onboard into our platform and set up their account with us. It's through that process that we collect the key information that we need to know from them. So we find out who the other buyers or sellers are, where the property is located, if they're eligible for the first-time home buyer rebate in the event of a purchase, if they're a foreign home buyer. So what would typically be collected over a series of phone calls or emails, we do in a simple onboarding flow.
Okay.
Once they've completed that, they're into their client dashboard where leading up to closing day, they're served up a series of tasks that are easily explained to them that help us collect the information that we need. And then they have some visuals that they're able to track our progress as we go. So we call that our milestone tracker. And it's something that the agent sees in their dashboard as well. And it really is just a list of all the things that we need to do as the real estate lawyer on file, explained in detail and then marked off as they're completed. And then last but not least, on closing day, the dashboard view shifts to a view that tracks each individual thing that needs to happen on that day to successfully close. And we're updating that dashboard in real time. So the client's getting updates on that in their dashboard and via email and text, as well as the referring agent.
How awesome is that? If you're watching this right now, I hope you guys are clapping because the process is really seamless, actually. And who doesn't love visuals? I love logging in and you see the visuals right there, and it's just very easily outlined for you. And if you need more information about it, there's that learn more button. So you just click on that and it explains in a little bit more detail. Or I could text you.
Or you could text me. Exactly. And, right. We try to keep language simple. That's the other thing is like when people are dealing with any sort of lawyer service or legal service, oftentimes it can be overwhelming and confusing, complicated language, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so we try to make language approachable and simple.
That's terrific. And just to share with you, Joel, like recently one of my clients, David, I asked him about his experience with Ownright, and his feedback was fantastic. He said he contacted multiple lawyers. He thought you guys were priced the best, and not only priced the best, but communicated the best with him. So he was really satisfied and really happy that he chose you guys as his representative.
It's so great to hear. We pride ourselves on that, especially when they're referred by our partners. Our big measure of success is we look at Google reviews, and we want to deliver such a great experience that people are motivated to leave us a positive Google review. And what's really exciting in many of those reviews is that people call out the experience in working with us from beginning to end as being consistent. So even in that initial quote period that David would have gone through, he's having a similar experience at that point in time as what he'll have throughout the journey and closing with us.
Yeah.
And it's important for us. Like, people need to have that confidence instilled in them from the start. And really it begins from the first referral that you send our way.
Love it. Love it. Let's actually discuss about pricing, since you had touched on it a little bit there. What kind of client expect, whether they're looking to sell or looking to buy, or maybe both?
Yep.
How much does it really cost to choose Ownright as a representative?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll start with explaining typically how pricing is done in the real estate law space. So for a purchase, you've got your fee, which is what a lawyer charges for their time, their service. It's what they earn for their work on a closing. You have disbursements, which are the costs that a lawyer incurs in order to do their job. So it's things like searching title, registering a mortgage on title, that type of thing. It costs money, and lawyers pass those costs on to the end consumer. And then in the event of a purchase, there's title insurance and there's land transfer tax. So land transfer tax, title insurance, those are going to be pretty consistently the same across the board. Where you start to see variability in pricing across the different competitors in this space is the fee and the disbursements. So our fee on a purchase closing is $11.79 plus HST, and on a sale closing it's $10.79 plus HST. Now, if that deal is referred to us by partners, by Ownright partners, we knock $100 off of that closing.
Oh, let me add to that, if you use the code Melconian100, if you contact Ownright and you use Melconian100, they will deduct $100 from their fee. So
exactly. So that brings our purchase price down to $10.79 plus HST, and our sale price down to $9.79 plus HST. So we're very clear in saying, like, that is not the lowest price out there. It's great value for the quality of service that we provide, but it's not the lowest price out there, and that's not necessarily the game that we're looking to play. We're looking to create value. Now, the other piece in the pricing part that's often the hidden consideration is disbursements. And so disbursements can be, I'll say, flexible in how they're charged. Our stance at Ownright is that we only charge for the disbursements that we have to incur in order to do our job. And so again, it's things like searching title. It's things like registering a mortgage on title, registering the transfer of ownership on title. What is often charged outside of that is things like paper and postage, administration fees, something that's called a conveyancing software fee, which can become incredibly expensive. So we don't necessarily have the lowest fee out there, although we're certainly extremely competitive. But we are most likely the lowest when it all is said and done, and when it comes to disbursements, because we charge what we believe is fair. And so we never charge for conveyancing software. We don't charge for paper postage and admin fees. We charge for what we have to.
Okay, that's terrific. I'll tell you, my client, when he told me he spoke with multiple lawyers, he found that you guys were priced the best, to be honest.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. If somebody's buying or selling today, what's the biggest mistake they make when choosing a real estate lawyer?
Yeah, I'd go back to pricing on this. So I think it's easy when you're going into selecting a real estate lawyer, or for that matter, really any real estate professional, to anchor to price and cost. And if that's the only criteria that you're looking at, it's fairly easy to be misdirected. And so the reason I say that is, within the real estate law portion of it, what you're quoted at the beginning does not necessarily end up being what you're charged at the end. So if you purely anchor yourself on the lowest price, it's very possible and likely that once you get to the end of your transaction, you're going to be quite surprised by what that end cost is.
Sure, those disbursements, discharges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some hidden fees in there that you wouldn't otherwise expect. Now, there are lots of great players out there that quote properly, and you'll know what you're getting from beginning through to end. But if you're purely filtering based on that lowest price, you're likely to get caught in a scenario where either that fee isn't what you expect it to be, or the service isn't up to par with what you would expect it to be. And I think, you're in this extremely expensive transaction, you're looking to find ways to save, but the professional advice that you receive is probably not the one that you want to be saving or focusing on savings for.
Sure. Oh, when it comes to one of the largest transactions in your life, I don't think you want to cut corners anywhere.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Let's be honest. Fair enough. Do you have an example that you could share?
Yeah, so a thing that quite commonly comes up when we're quoting people, and the way that this happens is people rightfully so will shop around quotes that they receive. So we'll share our quote, and our quote for a purchase closing always includes the preparation and registration of a mortgage on title. So what we give as a quote includes that. Oftentimes, quotes are given that don't include that mortgage, which make the cost seem lower. But when it's clearly communicated that there is a mortgage to be prepared and registered, that's an additional charge.
And so oftentimes there are.
And I mean, the majority of the time there are, right? And so you really, as you're collecting quotes, want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. And if you don't have all the information included in your quote and you're doing your best to map out each individual quote against each other, it's very possible that you're going to have those little items removed or not included that make the quote look more appealing. And then again, down the line, it's not so appealing.
Yeah, surprise. And right? And nobody likes surprises when it comes into real estate. Do you think that there's a problem with traditional real estate law?
Yeah, I don't. I think I wouldn't call it a problem. I think we got into the space because we saw an opportunity. And I think there was a contingent of the industry that weren't providing the client experience and client service that should be provided in such a big transaction like this. So while there are a ton of incredible providers out there, they weren't necessarily the most digital forward solutions. So we saw an opportunity to step in and meet clients where they're at, especially the up and coming buyers and sellers that are of the millennial generation, maybe even some Gen Z generation. We knew that they'd be looking for a digital solution, and we knew that there was an opportunity for us to step in and be that digital solution. So, I wouldn't say that there's a problem with the industry per se. I think there was a bunch of new types of clients coming into the space, and there wasn't an offering that fit what they needed. And so we saw that as our opportunity to step in and be that offering.
Well, I do love the platform you guys have brought to the table. I've been in real estate for 20 years, and you are the only different real estate lawyer that I've found, or company, right? And speaking of that, would you say that Ownright Law is for any buyer or for more modernized, more educated technological people?
Totally. I think it's an extremely accessible service that we provide. First of all, by being completely virtual, it does not matter where you are located, actually anywhere in the world, so long as the property is in Ontario. So it's very accessible from that point of view. I think one of the common misconceptions that people have about our service is that you have to be a tech savant to be able to do it. And that's certainly not the case. You need to know how to use a digital device, whether that be a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop. But if you can do that, you're going to be able to close with us. Like I said, I think our service tends to attract the younger buyers and sellers, but we found that that's not the only people that are attracted to working with us. And we're having folks in older generations that are really enjoying their experience with us. I think the only types of people that don't make sense to work with us are those that cannot, use a digital machine, any of those that I listed, or someone that wants an in-person signing meeting, which is completely understandable. That's how it used to be done, and there's still folks that want that. And if that's the case, we have a number of great firms that we know that we recommend people get in touch with, as it just doesn't fall within our suite of services.
Wow, so you'd actually recommend them or refer them to somebody?
Absolutely.
If they wanted that in-person experience.
Totally. Yeah, we have great relationships with a number of firms, and we want to make sure that even if we can't support someone, that they're directed to someone that we have confidence in their services.
Well, I love that. I can appreciate that. Thank you for doing so.
Yeah.
Just to add to, for the agents, the real estate agents who are out there watching this too, like Joel had mentioned, I mean, along the whole entire process, you as an agent too, you have your own login portal. You can follow every step along the way. Prior to closing, it tells you how many days to your closing. It tells you when funds have been moved, or if there's been progress made in the transaction. You are just notified along the whole ride, the whole journey, and it's really a different type of real estate, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Joel, thanks for bringing this to the table, to the industry, which I think needed it, actually. I think it needed this upgrade. I'm going to call it an upgrade. Is there anything else you want to share with the viewers out there about Ownright or real estate law?
Yeah, I think, about Ownright, reach out if you have any questions. I think some people have some worries before coming to a solution like us that, you don't have your own lawyer, you're not going to be able to get a hold of a human being or anything like that. I'd say test us on that. What we have in terms of technology is supportive on top of the great support system that we have that's led by humans. So I would actually say we're more accessible by phone than your typical law firm. So before you rule us out as an option, I'd suggest at least reaching out to us for a quote. And again, it's not all about pricing, but I think you'll get an idea of the quality of service that we provide if you reach out to us for a quote, and to better understand how we operate. So that would be my big ask to the audience.
Well, I would recommend you guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Joel, thanks so much for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. Your information or contact information is going to be on the screen. So if anybody does want to contact Ownright Real Estate Law, you can contact them, or feel free to contact me if you're looking about buying or selling or need a recommendation. I'm always available. Joel, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, cheers.
Thank you.